Hi long range hunting, welcome to episode 7 of our hunting bullets versus match bullets ballistic gel testing videos. Now today we are revisiting the Hornady A tip 230 grains. Now these were sent to me by a buddy. He hunts with them, has had great results, dropped an elk at just under 600 yards last year with it, dropped dead on the spot, great performance. Now this has been my number one requested bullet, just because one, it's new, it is expensive. I covered that in the last video. I think that Hornady overpriced them. I think they're really cutting out a big section of the market by what their price point is for them. There's just not a lot of data on it, period. There have been people that have killed with it, but it's not widely known. As far as I really haven't found any good test of them ballistically to compare or even find a minimum impact velocity to let you know what your effective range is. Now my buddy sent me these, and the last test was at 2,500 feet per second impact velocity. This test is at 1,800 feet per second velocity. Now with the Magnum cartridges that most people are running these with 300 PRCs, Norma improved, etc., 1,800 feet per second is a long way away, farther than most people are going to shoot. And quite honestly, we got very good performance. That'd be a dead animal, very effective. First things first, I want to cover, because a lot of people don't seem to understand what a ballistic tip is or the purpose. There's been some people who have called them hoaxes and stuff like that. And you have your ballistic tip, and that's the end of this. And what ballistic tips and why they become so popular with hunters is the fact that if you had a boat tail hollow point, say like a Sierra Match King, your hole is going to be at the very end of the bullet, and it's going to be very, very small. The way a lot of guys with the Sierra Match Kings have gotten better terminal performance, they take a 1/16 inch drill bit and they'll drill that hole a little bit bigger. Big enough to aid in better terminal performance, but not big enough to really affect the flight path of that bullet by negatively affecting the BC. The nice part about a ballistic tip is if you remove that tip, there is a hole. It's more like a hollow point. And so that would cause a lot of drag. So by adding that tip, it allows you to have a larger opening there for expansion while still keeping that high BC, your great aerodynamics, and make the bullet shoot better. But this works like a wood wedge. So if you're splitting wood and you take a wedge, and just that, it's a wedge. So you're going to hit the wood with your axe. It's going to start to open. You're going to put that wedge in there. And as you hammer it down, it's going to split that wood. And that's effectively what these do. It is like a wedge for that bullet. So you have your ballistic tip, you have those good aerodynamics. And when that bullet impacts that animal, it's acting as a wedge and it's forcing that bullet open. Now, one great part about these two, which I really have fun with the ballistic gel tests on, is finding the tips. And with these, this is what it looks like. The ELD match tend to be a little bit more mangled with those polymer tips. For our permanent wound cavity here, we had a maximum width of 2 inches. This is a very good wound cavity. 1,800 feet per second is, like I said, a long ways for a lot of these cartridges running these big 230s. We had 4.5 inches of penetration before that bullet really started to expand, which the depth of penetration from the hide to the vitals on a whitetail deer is 3 inches. So that means that that bullet was really starting to open up and dump that energy inside the chest cavity where it's supposed to be. If you can see, that bullet around 5.5 inches actually diverts out, which means that it did its job. So that bullet hit, it started expanding, and this separated, and went to the side, and the rest of the bullet continued through, crushing that permanent wound cavity through and creating that temporary wound cavity, that hydrostatic shock at that impact velocity. Now let's go real quick and look at the footage of the temporary wound cavity. Now, as you can see, we had very good performance with the permanent wound cavity and the temporary wound cavity. This is definitely a fatal shot on a whitetail. It would definitely do the same thing with an elk or moose or anything else. This is a fatal cavity. Honestly, this is better performance than what you're going to see with most hunting bullets at 2,800 feet per second. So it's one of those things that they work really well. Now, as I've said, this is a newer bullet, so there's not a lot of data. I have sent some off to Aaron to get cut open and measured, so we'll be able to study the construction of the bullet itself. We'll be able to look at jacket thickness and compare it to other bullets. And as we keep testing here, as I'm not stopping at 1,800 feet per second, we're going to go down and try to get this down to a lower impact velocity where we can really see what our minimum impact velocity is for reliable expansion. That way you as the user can know the effective range based off your minimum impact velocity for this projectile. Now, these are great bullets. The ELD match has still outperformed it, and it's pretty much half the cost of it. So if you're, again, I think Hornady overdid the price point on this. Will these work? Absolutely. We've seen phenomenal results. We've seen good results in the field, and we've seen very good results here in 2 ballistic tests. And all these seem to be really is an improved version of the ELD match. And this all started with the AMAX. The AMAX is a great bullet. It's the older version of the ELD match. Basically, they took that bullet, improved it with the ELD match. They changed the tip and the shape to give you better aerodynamics for a higher BC. So you get better external ballistics. However, they perform the same as far as terminal performance. And then you've got your 8 tips now, which seem to be an improvement on the ELD match. Now, we're not getting quite the same performance as we were with the ELD match. It's pretty close, but the ELD match still has, in my opinion, the advantage from what we're seeing. It's creating a larger wound cavity, both permanent and temporary. As far as I can tell, it's also going to have a lower impact velocity for expansion. But as far as external ballistics, these have it. They're very good bullets. They're very easy to load for. I've shot it in multiple cartridges and multiple grains, and quite honestly, they are very easy to load for. They're not really jump sensitive, which the ELD match is like that too. But with this, you get even better external ballistics. And as everybody knows, shot placement is everything. That's one reason why we really preach match bullets. Not only the incredible terminal performance you get from certain match bullets, but also the accuracy. No cartridge, even a Magnum, will make up for poor shot placement. Poor shot placement is poor shot placement. So a bullet that is going to give you better accuracy is also going to allow you to better achieve those pinpoint shots of point of aim, point of impact, which again, shot placement is everything. Now, with a good bullet, are you going to get a larger temporary wound cavity to aid in a little bit of wiggle room? Yes, which is why match bullets are so much better. So you not only get a larger wound cavity, but you also get better accuracy. Results speak for themselves. Now we're going to continue with this bullet. I'm going to take it hunting this year and use it. So we'll get some actual results there and be able to show you wound cavity, chest cavity, Hopefully get some high impact velocity and low impact velocity shots in there to show the range on animals. As far as the gel, they performed very, very well. And once Aaron gets back to us with, cutting that projectile open, getting us our measurements, and as we continue testing, we'll keep updating you not only on our performance in the field with it, but also the construction of the bullet and the minimum impact velocity once we figure that out. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been helpful. Happy hunting.
Not that hard, people.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notification bell so you won't miss out on any future video. And happy hunting.